Get a group on. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. You energize me. Wow. I love it. And I'm kind of boring and stale. And this is a big step for me. I'm having a lot of fun. Go and have a lot of fun, Ken. I will. I plan on it. But anyway, enough about me. Let's move on. We're going to hear quickly soon about Reverend Joanne. This month we're embarking on kind of a new venture here, rebirth of spring and all of that good stuff, as we explore infinite possibilities that exist for us when we align with and live from spiritual truth. Today, Reverend Joanne decides to draw on the ancient wisdom of King Solomon. Sorry, today not St. Patrick. And also, another modern person, I hadn't heard of him, but I'm sure he's famous because Reverend Joanne's going to talk about Mike Dooley. Anybody know Mike Dooley?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So I invite you to pay close attention to our talk as Reverend Joanne weaves her way through, as she does. She explains how we can use our 6 divine senses to allow us to move into deeper understanding of what living into, kind of an interesting way of looking, infinite possibilities really means. With all our getting, we can get understanding. Whoa, she's going to tell us all about that. So let's welcome Reverend Joanne.
Reverend Ken. Before I tell you all about those things that you said I'm doing, I was like, I better take notes and see them. I would like to share with you a wee bit of Irish truth. And I thought for that I would wear my special glasses. So just as your little wee bit of St. Patrick's Day, which, by the way, is on Tuesday, and if you're not wearing green, did you notice Derwin's pants? So let me tell you a wee bit. You may know this already, but just a few little tidbits here. St. Patrick's Day is also called the Feast of St. Patrick, and it is the cultural and religious celebration occurring every year on the 17th of March, and celebrated, most commonly recognized because St. Patrick is the patron saint of Ireland. So this is the question: are you Irish? The answer is yes, on St. Patrick's Day. We are all Irish on St. Patrick's Day. So St. Patrick's Day was made an official Christian feast day. It is also celebrated in the Catholic Church, because we are inclusive, we mentioned that. In the early 17th century, also the Anglican Communion Center or Churches of Ireland, the Eastern Orthodox Church, and the Lutheran Church. And the day commemorates St. Patrick on the arrival of Christianity in Ireland, as well as celebrating the heritage and culture of the Irish in general. That's where we have green beer, right? Anyone try green beer? Some of you more than others, okay? And we wear green and we celebrate. There's also one other thing I'd like to share, and that is the symbology of the shamrocks. And that's why I'm wearing them. So can anyone guess what they might be? What is nature? They believed in Ireland that nature was teaching us about nature. Nature was teaching us about spirituality because it was the most prevalent thing in Ireland are green shamrocks. They're everywhere. They cover the hills. They grow. So anyone guess what a shamrock only has 3? Yes, back there.
And the Trinity?
Yes.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Thank you. It is celebrated there. They believe it is the Trinity, and you all may remember, but who remembers what the Trinity is? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. When I was little, I used to get scared. What is the Holy Ghost? That's why we change it to the Holy Spirit. And the 3 protrusions also represent, in our more modern teaching, the idea of faith, hope, and love. Faith, love, and hope. Those 3. So it has some symbology behind it. So I really like that. Wanted to mention that, and of course wear my very petite glasses that I am celebrating St. Patrick's Day, and I wish you all a wonderful time. I know you will have a great time. My radio show I'm doing actually exclusively on Irish music, and I'm talking and sharing more about St. Patrick's Day and what that means, so you're welcome to tune into that. I better wear my glasses. That's right, I will. So this month is truly about the idea of we're rebirthing ourselves, we're rebirthing spring, all that is made new. And today, as we share this idea with all of our getting to get understanding. In the last 2 Sundays, I've shared that the spiritual truth is that we are always, every one of us, is on a journey. Even though for some people they may not realize they're on a spiritual journey, we are all unfolding. We are all growing. We are all in a place in every moment of transcendence, of moving beyond, above, beyond, and across where we have been. So I'll begin with this question. Are you the same person right now that you were 20 years ago? Some of you are not even 20. So you were definitely not the person. Someone shared with me they were 18. You're definitely not the person you were 20 years ago. What about 10 years ago? 5 years? How about last year? A year ago? Are you the same person right now that you were a year ago? No, and thank goodness. I say to myself about me, thank goodness. You know, because we're always moving forward, we're always unfolding, we're always growing. I love that. And so I've said this before, that there's always an expansion happening, a greater and ever greater expression of who we are. So we're here to unfold and to grow. And so I thought today I would give you exactly what Dr. Ernest Holmes said, his exact words, because they're so powerful. And this is on page 31 of Science of Mind, in case some of you want to look it up. This is what he said, and I quote, "We reach out to infinity." When was the last time you reached out to infinity? Never? How many of you have reached out to infinity? On a few occasions. Maybe infinity's reached out to you. We reach out to infinity, and since we cannot encompass all of infinity, we shall always be expanding. We shall always be expanding and always enlarging our capacity to know and to experience. And then Dr. Holmes goes on to say this: as we expand into our experience, we can only conceive that which we can believe and that which we are willing to receive. And our understanding unfolds, and possibilities and attainment all will increase. So these are statements from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. And so today is about expanding our understanding, because what you understand, what you embody, what you believe, is what you can express and what can expand you. And so the instructions to increase, to unfold our understanding, it actually goes a lot further back than simply Dr. Holmes. He was a great studier. He studied everything. I don't know if you've ever seen a copy of his library. I have a copy of his library. It is page after page, like hundreds and hundreds of things, all philosophies and science of the day, all religious and spiritual teaching. He studied all of it, Buddhism, everything. And he brought it all together in what he would call the Science of Mind. So in this particular instruction, though, this is actually from King Solomon. I'm going to combine in one sentence King Solomon with Dr. Ernest Holmes. I wonder if he'd like that. I bet he would. So, in Proverbs chapter 4, King Solomon himself said this: "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all of thy getting, get understanding." Now, I also looked up the Longza version, and that is a direct translation of the Aramaic into English, and it's a little different. See if you can hear the difference. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all of your substance, get understanding. You can hear the difference in that? With all of your substance, to me that means with your mind, your heart, your soul, every cell in your body, every hair in your head, every part of you, every dimension of you, you get understanding. And so if you combine these two, understanding with all our substance, our possibilities of attainment increase. When we really understand something, our attainment, our transcendence, our understanding, our knowledge, our wisdom expand. So we want to understand. Have you ever looked at something and you didn't quite get it? You say, God, I just don't get it. Then you keep saying that and we kind of get lost, right? But if we really have a depth of understanding, then we can increase our expansion. That's just what happens. So to continue with that, I believe that there are three things that all of us are addressed in the amazing words of Genevieve that you shared earlier. I liked how you pronounced her name. How did you say her last name? He gives it kind of a, you had an earlier one that was more French. We were practicing how to say her name. Beren. Oh, it's the hat change. Okay, good. So in her book, Your Invisible Power, she says that, and this is so powerful, I want you to think about it. This is what I want us to all get today. That our mind, your mind, my mind, is a center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. And this means production of something beyond what has ever gone before. Something entirely new, not included in the past experience, but proceeding out of it in an orderly sequence of growth. And I'm going to give you an actual experience of that today, so you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So there are three distinct elements in this quote that I love. And the first one is the center of divine operation. So I'm going to say it, and I want you to say it after me. My mind is a center of divine operation. Say that. My mind is a center of divine operation. Okay, can you feel that? Yes. What does that mean? I love the ancient description of God. See if you've heard of this ancient description of God. God is a circle whose circumference is nowhere and whose center is everywhere. Isn't that lovely? I'll say it again. God is a circle whose circumference is nowhere and whose center is everywhere. Is everywhere. So if that is true, and I believe that to be true, then you and I, right where you are right now, you are a center. And I liked how my co-minister was saying, and living in his own little world. How many of you live in your own little world? Sometimes more than others. So right in your own little world or your own big world, you, right where you are a center of divine operation. My mind is a center of divine operation. So this morning I invite you to awaken to that truth, to deepen into this truth more than you ever have before, to know that you know and you know with all of your substance, your mind, your heart, your knowingness, your intelligence, your soul, every fiber of your being. In the teaching of the Tao, Laozi, the father of Taoism, once said, at the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are and you know what you want. How many of us look for answers not at the center of our being, but somewhere else? We always want someone else. Someone else knows better than us, right? Someone else can give us a reading. What about if right where you are, all of the intelligence of the divine is operating, and if you want to answer, you can put your hand on your heart and you can ask yourself, and you will have the answer. You will have the answer. I love that. And this is because your mind is that center of divine operation. So at the center of our being, we know who we are, and we know that what we want, and what all of us want, I believe, is to continuously express our divinity in greater and ever greater ways. And at the center of our being, we want to discover the gift that is of life that each of us is here to express. Did you know that right where you are, the center of divine intelligence, that is you, that it is expressing uniquely, and some of us very uniquely, and there is something you are here to give the world. A gift that uniquely is yours to share with the world. What might that be? What could that possibly be? Does someone else have your answer?
No.
No, that was there you go. That was the right answer. In the Tibetan Book of Life, it said this: I came from the light. I came from the light. How many of you came from the light? You came from the light. I put on a coat of skins. How's my coat doing? A coat of skins, and I shall return to the light. We are interested in the I am presence. That is the one who comes from the light. That's what it means. I am that I am. I come from the light. And we shall return to the light. So with all thy getting, with all thy substance, with all thy being, get an understanding of this today. Because the power of that understanding, that your mind, that you are a center of divine light, a center of divine love. So with that, I'm going to give you an actual demonstration of what that looks like. And it's going to be fun, and I believe that it'll also be a little bit humorous for you. And this is that divine operation is always for expansion. Who's ready to expand? Not necessarily physically, but I want to expand my happiness. Anyone else want to do that? My joy, my peace of mind, prosperity, abundance, harmony, wholeness, health, vitality. Woo! And don't forget dancing. So I want to expand all those things. We can be healthier, we can be happier, we can have more prosperity and abundance of all good. We can have more love, right? We can have a lot of that. Yeah, so the divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. And that's really this word. I love this word. And there was a movie about it. I did not see the movie, but it was called Transcendence. Anyone see that movie? None of you. I haven't seen it. But it's something beyond our physical. So transcendent. And to transcend means to go above, beyond, and across wherever you are right now. So who's willing to transcend, to have things even better than they are right now? Even better. Even greater, healthier, happier. Yes, all of us. Good. All right, so I want to demonstrate this point, and I'm going to share this. I cannot take credit for this amazing play that you will now see. I have 6 characters that are going to come up, and they're not going to say a word, but they're going to act out their part. And I'm going to step off the stage. You'll still hear me. And I'm going to share. I'm going to call them up, and they're each going to have a part, and this is going to demonstrate for you transcendence. Okay? Transcendence. The person who created this was Dr. Harry Morgan Moses. Anyone heard of Dr. Harry Morgan Moses? Wouldn't it be fun? Hi, good morning. My name is Reverend Moses. It might carry a little pack with it, right? All right, so I'm going to call up the following people. They're going to come up on the stage, and they're going to act out transcendence, so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're going to call up Ken. Ken, would you come up? Stand right here. Ken. I'm going to call up Rael. I'm going to call up Sheila. And I'm calling up Linda. Then there's Pat. There is Sandy. And we don't have Joe here today. Oh, yes. Okay, she's going to be there. Okay, come on up. Okay, here we go. Can you hear me okay?
We're going to move these out.
Okay, go
Just
ahead.
one.
All right, can you all see? Can you all see everything? All right. And so what I'm going to do is that every time I say each of these persons is going to represent something, they already know what it is and they're going to act it out. And every time I say their word, they're going to step forward and they're going to pantomime or act out what this word is. So first I would like you to meet fire. And then there is the torch. And then there is the candle. And then there is, thank you, then there is a lantern. Then there is a light bulb. Then there is a flashlight. And then there is a laser beam. You're such a perhaps millions of years ago. In the beginning there was fire. And that fire was primitive fire, and the fire exists, but we don't know what to do with the fire. It exists because it's all messy, and it's all over the place, and we wanted to light our cave. Could we light our cave with this kind of fire? Yes, okay, fire, thank you. We transcended fire. We as cave people wanted to figure out how we could bring the fire into our cave. So next, transcending that, something entirely new that we thought of as a cave person was torch. Torch came forward, and we learned how to take the primitive fire and use it to light our caves. But there was a problem. All of that smoke in the cave, you couldn't breathe, too much smoke. Plus we can't leave the torch there for long. So transcended to the idea of torch, we moved beyond that. And something amazing was born. We transcended the torch and we invented a candle. And that candle was just a little light. It was just a little light. It was not enough to light a large space. And then when the wind came along and blew it out. We came across this idea of putting a candle in a container and calling it a lantern. So a lantern, the wind won't blow it out now. The candle inside, and we can use other things to fuel a lantern. But it's still messy. And limited. It only lasts for a certain amount of time. So how do we get the darkness to have a more permanent light? Well, we figured it out. We invented the light bulb. We had a light bulb moment, transcending all these things. But still there is fire. There is fire, is still fire. And the torch is still the torch. And the candle is still the candle, still here. And then what is next? The lantern. The lantern is here. Still here. And then there is the light bulb moment. We all have those. The light bulb being invented, yes. But then there's more. There's more. We can't take the light bulb outside. So someone invents, what do they invent?
Flashlight.
The flashlight. And that's fantastic. We've gone as far as we can go, right? There's the flashlight. The fire still burns. The torch still lights. The candle still flickers. Uh-oh. The lantern is mobile. The light bulb is a whole new idea. And then the flashlight gives us a new level of mobility that we never had before. We transcended all of these ideas, but there's another one. And that is the laser beam. The laser beam can cut metal. It can heal your body. Right? And I know that that is a transcendental idea. And there is more. We have not yet invented it, but it is coming forward in our universe. It is. And so each idea, transcendental to the first idea, fire, we had a torch, we had a candle, we had a lantern, we had a light bulb, we had a flashlight, we had a laser, not destroying anything, but based on it. Isn't this a pretty fun way to transcend the production of something beyond what has ever gone before, and yet also entirely new, not included in the past experience, but proceeding from it, an extraordinary sequence of growth. So let's give our Sunday players. See, wasn't that fun? Yeah, and it's the whole idea. What you just saw saw happening is happening in you right now if you choose it. It is transcending whatever you've been when you were born, and you couldn't talk except you could cry really loud when you were born, right? Wah! We couldn't walk, we couldn't crawl, but look where you are now. Look how far you've come. We have all transcended. We have all done transcendence, I should say, and we all have practiced that. Okay, the last thing for today. The divine operates exactly the same way in us, and this third idea to understand with all our substance is that this divine truth of us must operate in the same manner as it does with the divine, as it does in our evolutionary path. Every one of us is more, way more than we were at birth. We have grown, we've expanded, we've transcended, and it operates through our 6 mental or spiritual divine senses. Now, who remembers what those 6 are? Anyone can say what they are? I've talked about them for the last 2 weeks. So we have, and these are your divine senses: imagination, will, intuition, perception. We get to choose what something means. Memory, which works forward and backward, and reason. There is a power for good in this universe, and every one of us is it. We are literally that which is the divine. We are that. And so this morning we are getting the understanding at a very deep level. Understanding that we are part of something greater. We are part of something so much greater that we cannot even fathom it. In the universe upon universe upon universe upon universe, forever expanding. And every one of us is that. It has been proven scientifically, I don't know how they figured this out, but they said that the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light. It is growing and expanding. How do they figure that out? I don't know. And every one of us, we are part of that. In fact, we are the place where that is happening, when we know who we are. So this morning, I invite you into this place of, we're going to just take this right in. I'm going to have Rael play the wings for us. And it is even before Genevieve Berend studied with Thomas Troward, as we discussed last week. She studied his writing. She was the only student he would accept. And there was a passage from the Dory Lectures that she said endeavored with all of her understanding, every part of her being, to understand. And we'll just kind of close with that as we go into our treatment time. My mind is a center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. And this means that the production of something beyond that which has gone before, something entirely new, not included in the past experience, though proceeding out of it in an orderly sequence of truth and of growth. Therefore, since the divine is always the divine, it must operate in the same manner in me. Consequently, it is in my own special world, of which I am the center. It will move forward to produce new conditions, new experiences, in advance of anything that has ever gone on before. I am a center of divine operation. I am that. And so this morning I just simply recognize the one power, the one life, the one source that I call the Creator or God or whatever name you wish to call it. It is the power that creates worlds, the power that creates universe upon universe upon universe upon universe, forever expanding. And I know that right where I am one, eternally one, with that expansion, with that divine essence of my being. I am one with the divine, one with God, one with Spirit. I am one with that. And as the divine expands faster than the speed of light, in the universe upon universe, I know that my life continually gets better. better and better and better. Every day and in every way, as Louise L. Hay says, every day and in every way, my life gets better and better and better, ever expanding, ever evolving, beyond anything I've known before. I am healthier, I am happier, I am more in harmony, I am prosperous and abundant, I am creative. And I give thanks for this knowing, for this absolute truth, for this transcendence. I give thanks. And I release this prayer into the law of mind that always says yes. And I simply let go. And I allow the truth of my being, my divine essence, to live its life as me. Ever evolving, ever growing, ever transcending, ever more magnificent me. And so knowing that, let us say together and anchor this in our consciousness. We agree as we say together, and so it is. We have another song.